Hi, my name is Xavier, and today I'll be reviewing the Vario Art Deco watch. Before I get too much into anything, let's just flip the camera around so you guys can actually look at the watch. So here we have the Empire watch by Vario. But first, today I am wearing my 1948 Omega. Has a 30T2 movement, has this beautiful, beautiful patina on the dial. Super, super cool. Oh, got out of focus. Okay, so in case you want to skip to a certain part of the video, such as the measurements or the final opinion or some close-up shots, those will all be linked in a timestamp below. But if you want to watch the whole video, it's going to start now. So Vario is brief history, a company based out of Singapore. They started in about 2016. They made NATO straps. You know, they're definitely more based off of their patterns. And once they graduated from NATO straps, they went and built a both sweeping quartz and mechanical version of a watch called the Vario Eclipse. That was fairly successful, and now they're at their second watch design, the Vario Empire. And this is more based off the Art Deco styling, hence the name Empire, based off the Empire State Building. And really the Art Deco movement was in its prominence between the 1920s, 1930s. And it was mainly characterized very simply by, having simple, clean, streamlined shapes and really having a sort of elegance that was not traditional. You know, let's say we look at a Patek Philippe Calatrava, simple, stylish always, but here we have a dress watch, basically, but it's a little fancier. Has a little more to it, And a good place to start, I think, would be just to take the dimensions of the watch. So let's get the calipers. We got a diameter of 38 millimeters. Lug to lug, we have about 35.5. A width, let's kind of just take the purlin off. Width of about 11, and we got a 20 millimeter lug width. Now, I think the best place to start with this watch would be the dial. Now, the dial on this watch is really, I would say, most of the show. We have very cool, I would say, three-piece kind of construction. We have the middle dial with the perlage, the little outer blackened ring with the numerals, and then another ring on the extremity that's in white, just like the middle, and has black dots like the other ring. So I feel like there's a very, constant sense of design in both color and in a sort of circular, streamlined, a circular, streamlined fashion, and I think that really ties into the whole Art Deco theme, the swoopiness, if that's a word, the swoopiness of the numerals, the way that circle in the 10, or the 0 in the 10 rather, almost really matches the circle in the Vario, the way the V in the Vario symbol is, offset with the 2, again, circles on the top, the circular, counterbalance is just circular pips on the outer ring, There's just so much circular and linear combinations in this watch. I feel like it really ties in well with the Art Deco theme. Now, it would almost be a shame talking about this beautiful dial without getting up close. So now that's what we're going to do. So here we are on a much closer level than really you would ever dare to look with your eyes or even could possibly look with your eyes. But I think it really tells of the quality of the watch. I mean, it's going to retail for around $350, and I feel just the quality of the design everywhere is just very outspoken. You see that the perlaging is just so fine and detailed. I mean, of course, I have a little imperfection right there in the perlage, but I did talk to the owner of Vario, and he said that mainly that was just for some reason, defect with this colorway of models, and he's straightening that out with the factory. The Vario model, the Vario name rather, is very crisp. The numbers as well, very, very crisp, very defined. Again, the swoopiness of them. The cool, skeletonized hands. That weird but cool offset, kind of mismatched one with zero, the smaller little zero. The really bulbous quality of all those outward pips. Now, there are small imperfections on this watch because this is a pre-production model, and I have brought up all this to the owner, and he said, these will be fixed once they, actually go out for Kickstarter. But even at this macro level, which, usually a watch like this, you wouldn't really subject to such a macro level. It just looks great. Oh, out of focus there. There we go. And I love how it starts small in the very middle and just grows outward. Super, super cool. And again, it very much ties into the Art Deco theme, but it's geometric shaping and, classiness and elegance, but taken to a more technical and, frankly, almost over-the-top detail. Now, that's enough of the dial. Now, let's talk about the case. The case, as you can see, has a polish on top, polish on bottom, and brushed on the side. And it's almost a three-piece kind of case because it has this, almost inset, smaller bezel section, followed by a larger mid-case, and the polished back. And you can see those lugs are almost seem like they're just faceted on there. And it's very cool, and it leads to like the more, architectural, industrial type design it's kind of aspiring to. Now we see that we have drilled lug holes, which is awesome for changing straps. We got a super cool little onion crown, which I think really ties in nice with, the era it's kind of calling back to, and as well as just good for everyday use, because this is a hand wind movement. And then that, if we look at the case back, we have that kind of bead blasted kind of look there in the middle. We got designed in Singapore because that's where the band's based out of. Stainless steel, 5 atmospheres water resistant, mechanical movement, and sapphire crystal on both the front and the back. And the sapphire on the front is coated with AR coating on the underside, so it will not scratch on the outside. And we can see that super cool, and if it can focus, skeletonized type movement. And you can just really see those gears just beating away there. Super cool. And I feel like the movement ties in really well again with the whole Art Deco theme, just because it kind of echoes the idea of being gold. And Art Deco style is really about being kind of over the top in decoration in a lot of ways. And I feel like the gold is just kind of a metal that would have been used in the Art Deco period, and here a similar look is given, at least to the movement. Very cool. So now I've kind of shown you the face of the watch, the sides of the watch, and now let's talk about how the watch really wears. So I'll put it on my wrist, and you can see I have a 6.5 inch wrist, and I think the sizing is really great on this one. If this Perlon would like to get on. There we go. So again, 6.5 inch wrist. Does not look too big by any means, nor do I think it looks too small. I feel like if you have a larger wrist, you can easily wear it. If you have a smaller wrist, you can also easily wear it. It does really curve down into the wrist. Beautiful, beautiful watch. And see on this Perlon here, it kind of just dresses it down, because it is an innately dressy piece, but on this Perlon, it's a little more casual. And I think when you're looking at it from this kind of angle, what you immediately see is one, of course, the dial, which is the main draw-in, especially with that like panda-esque style. And then again, I think your eyes are drawn both to the smaller inset bezel, which leads conically down into these faceted lugs, which, I mean, just looking at it, it just looks great, especially for the price. I mean, I think for Kickstarter, it's going to be retailing around $250, maybe lower, and once it's full retail, about $350. So, you know, this is punching in that weight class with, like, you know, the Sarb 033, the Orient Star Classic, kind of, you know, the Tissot Viso Date, things like that. And I honestly think it does have its own personality, its own flair, and it's really a lot of reasons to buy it. Now, I feel like I could show you how good it looks on some different straps. So here we have the Perlon, and then here we have it on the Vario Harris Tweed strap in blue. This blue is such a nice, deep, rich blue, and I feel like it really complements a lot of watches. Like, I've put it on my Orient Star Classic, I've put it on, you know, a Zodiac Seawolf that I've had, and I think it just complements a lot of watches. And I think it really works well with this watch because, you know, the dark blue isn't too loud and it just allows it to blend in. I think one downside to this strap, however, is that if we take my calipers, which I cannot find, take the calipers, you see that the strap is about 5.5 millimeters thick, and that is just a thick strap. I mean, it does go down to 3.5, but even then, I mean, it's a thick strap. And if you look at it on the wrist, you know, it does wear thickly, but I think it does add a cool visual element, especially just the texture of the wool. Very cool. And here I have it on a Horween, I think in the color Honey, from Long Island Watches. Now this strap is very thin, very supple, and it's very comfortable, you know. And I think, you know, the vintage style stitching, the brown on the black and white, I think it just matches the watch very well. And there it is on wrist. Very cool. And I love the way those silver numerals play with the light. Okay. And here we have the Vario, probably the most dressy combination of them all. I put it on this crocodile patterned leather that I got from my Orient Star Classic, and I feel like it just goes right with the watch. You know, the black just plays with the black, and it just makes it look very, very classy, you know. And it really can, you know, work as a dress watch. Now I think this classy look and honestly the just spot-on-ness of the color combination is a good way to end the videos with my thoughts. Now, what do I like about the watch? One, the sizing. 38 millimeters, it's great. I know the watch started as 40 millimeters, and I'm glad that I, even at Vario, decided to size down on that. Again, also the 47 millimeter lug to lug length, beautiful, because I have about a 6.5 inch wrist, but I've found that anything about under 50 millimeters wears well on me, and a lot of watches, you know, have around 47, 48, 49 millimeters. You know, watches like the Hamilton Khaki Mechanical, the Nomos Club 38.5 millimeter. A lot of common watches have lug lengths around there. And I think this watch will wear well on both small and large wrists. I love the color combination because, you know, it reminds me of those vintage Tudors that pretty much look like this, you know, but of course this is coming out a lot cheaper and a lot more modern. Value for money I also think is great. One, you get a beautifully constructed case. Nothing is stock here. It was all custom created for this watch. You get the beautiful color combinations, of which there are 3 other ones, which are all a little plainer, I would say. You know, you have a silver, you have a white dial, and then you have a gunmetal tuxedo, which is actually kind of cool, actually. I wouldn't mind that either. But I think the value for money here for about $350 full retail and even less on Kickstarter, I mean, what you're getting is amazing. You know, your sapphire crystal, the perfect size, a nice dress watch, high beat movement. You know, I think it's great bang per buck. I love, love, love the guilloche pattern in the middle like that. You just don't see it at this price point, and it's a really nice addition. Other than that, the onion crown, the lug holes, and of course the sapphire crystal. One of my favorite watches is the Orange Star Classic, but this sapphire crystal makes this somewhat of a better buy over that because, you know, that has, you know, acrylic dome crystal. But yeah, this watch is really just beautiful. Some cons are, one, I think the watch is a little too thick. At about like 11 millimeters for a hand wound movement, I feel like it's just a little too much. I think it still wears well for its size because of the curved lugs and the, you know, the illusion of it being slimmer because of the polished mid case. I mean, the brushed mid case, geez. But even then, I would love to have seen it a little slimmer. Again, I think the Harris tweed straps that you can get them on are a little too thick. So sometimes they don't wear very comfortably, especially on very slim watches. But even then, it's a very cool strap and a very cool kind of material to have in your collection, really. And they do have a lot of fun colors on these. And really, other than that, I really just don't like, you know, the imperfections mine comes with. But as I said, these are prototype dials, and this is a watch that Vario has kindly offered to have me send back to them and get the dial replaced. So yeah, my final thoughts are really, you know, if you're looking for a really fun, cool, different kind of dress watch, I think that's the key term. You know, this is something I really don't see in the price segment, and I think it's a design that's just really unique and fresh. You know, different than the Bauhaus, different than the kind of baby grand Seiko look that Seiko was doing with some of its watches. This is its own thing, and I think it does it well. And if you're looking for a dress watch, if you're looking for a dress watch that can also double as a cool, you know, conversational, casual piece, I think the Vario is for you. Thanks for watching.